Welcome back to Killer Fun, where we explore the intersection of crime and entertainment every other week. I'm Christy.
And I'm Jackie.
And we're so glad that you're back with us today. Today, we are talking about Home Alone, Christmas classic, tale of confusion and misunderstanding.
Much ado.
Oh, so much ado. And it's not exactly about nothing.
Not about nothing.
Because leaving your child at home is a big, big thing. And I have to apologize. I forgot that the mom called the police from France and got basically no help from them.
Oh, yeah, because we kind of talked about, like, why don't call the police?
Why wouldn't she call the police? She did call the police.
Yeah,
and I
it just wasn't a
that.
plot point because they bust her off. So we kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, so I totally forgot about that. So
that's fine.
I'm sorry, Mom McAllister. That I threw you under the bus when you didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So we could throw the police under the bus who did nothing.
Yeah.
And,
right.
made no attempts to help at all.
Like, I mean, they went and knocked on the door and the kid was too terrified to answer.
Right. And then they were like, oh, well.
Yeah. I'm like,
no, that's not how that works.
No, it's not how it works
of
at
course,
all.
The movie needed that to be kind of benign in order to tell the rest of the story. So.
Right. They needed to give Kevin the space to do his ingenious creations of home security.
Okay, I distinctly remember the winter it came out, and I got this movie for Christmas that year.
Okay.
And I was not feeling very well. So, like, kid me, I wasn't feeling great on Christmas morning, and I got to go sit in Dad's recliner and curl up, and I put this movie on, and I watched it, and it was the most comforting thing ever. And so I have it's such a nostalgic memory for me. Like, oh, yeah.
Aw, well, that's good.
And I felt
that's
better.
why it's a Christmas classic. Before we get too far into it, don't forget, we're coming up on our deadline. Technically, if you're listening to this on release day, I have said in the past that our deadline is today, December 9th, but I'm going to extend that to Tuesday, December 14th.
Nice.
Because I think I'll have enough time between the 14th and when we record to get everything organized. So,
oh, good.
If you want your own little homicidal maniac,
it's on my tree.
It's on my tree. Then
you want one too.
You want one. Send us in. We've gotten some in. I have a few more that will also qualify for homicidal maniac gnomes.
Nice.
And if I, for some reason, were to run out of the gnomes, then I will have something else that I will send to you. So send us a paragraph or two about your hometown crime, whatever that is. It can be a murder. It doesn't have to be. It can be stupid criminals. It can be the weird thing that happened to you when you were a kid. You almost got abducted, or you shoplifted and had to pay a consequence before you realized exactly what that was.
Tell us about that gum you stole.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. The cast.
Home Alone.
Kevin is, of course, Macaulay Culkin, or as he changed his name to a few years ago, Macaulay Culkin. Like, he changed his middle name and he asked his Twitter followers to help him decide on his middle name. And there was some ridiculous, like, options. And the one that won was making his middle name Macaulay Culkin. So he's Macaulay Culkin.
That's really silly.
He's
a silly person.
Yes.
Very funny.
And yeah, delightful in a lot of ways that he's not recognized for.
Yeah,
I think
underrate how funny he is.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and speaking of being funny, he was in this movie that I love called Saved.
Okay.
It's got Jenna Malone and Mandy Moore in it from 2004. You would love it, I think.
Okay.
It's really like a laser focus on evangelical Christianity and how it can be misleading and toxic.
Ooh, interesting.
Sometimes, but in a very funny way.
Okay.
Focused on teenagers.
Okay.
It is. Oh my! I think you'll love it because
Okay.
it's delightful. He was also in season 10 of American Horror Story.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So good for him. Harry is Joe Pesci. Of course, Goodfellas, Raging Bull, My Cousin Vinny.
Yep.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. Marv was Daniel Stern. He was in City Slickers. He was the narrator for the original Wonder Years.
Yeah.
Which I've forgotten completely. He was in Shrill with A.D. Bryant, which is super fun. The dad, Dad McAllister, I think his name's Peter. I don't know. In all of my notes, it was mom and dad.
Yeah, it's Peter.
It's Peter. It is Peter, but I'm not going to call him Peter. I'm going to call him Dad because that is who he is in relationship to the primary character.
That's true.
Yes. Is John Hurd. He was in Big with Tom Hanks TV miniseries that I'm like, ooh, how did I miss this one? Perfect Murder, Perfect Town, John Bonet and the City of Boulder. He was also in Sharknado, which I didn't realize.
And he was worried about Home Alone being bad.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
Yeah. And then the Lizzie Borden Chronicles, which was another miniseries, which I didn't remember that he was in. And he passed away in the summer of 2017.
Yeah. That's sad.
Yeah. And then mom is Catherine O'Hara, who's, of course, the incomparable Moira Rose on Schitt's Creek.
She's so funny.
She's so funny.
She's amazing.
Yeah. All right. We ready to recap?
Okay.
All
do
right.
it. Go for it.
All right. Poor Kevin. He's the youngest of not only his nuclear family, but the cousins as well. And I didn't realize till I was watching this time, I think there are 5 kids total in his nuclear family.
I think there's 4. I think he's the youngest of 4.
4. Oh, okay.
Buzz.
It's 4 or 5.
No, 5. You're right.
Yeah.
Because there's Buzz, the other brother, and then the sister, and then Fuller.
No,
Fuller's the cousin.
Fuller's a cousin,
So
but I think
Fuller.
there's 2 sisters.
Oh.
When they all came home on Christmas morning,
Oh.
I think there were 2 girls.
Jeez, I did not
I mean,
pay attention
so
to that.
many
It's just
kids.
such a gaggle of
Well,
children.
yeah, it doesn't really matter.
I mean, it's just chaos.
But I just
Yeah.
didn't realize how many kids there were in this family. Anyway.
Yeah. And the reason by the way, I remember Fuller, because that's
It's a
Macaulay's brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His Kieran Culkin. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So as everyone's preparing to leave for a lavish Christmas trip to Paris, the adults are busy and distracted. The cousins don't want to hang out with the little one. And bright little Kevin is told to clean up or pack or basically buzz off until the pizza gets eaten. Then we learn that the adults in the family have modeled the really poor behavior that the cousins have shown towards Kevin because they just see him as a troublemaker and a nuisance. They're really unfair to a poor 8-year-old child who is obviously bright. Kevin makes a wish that his family would disappear, and wish granted. A fallen power line and a whole bunch of confusion with the airport shuttle and distracted adults results in Kevin forgotten in the attic. Everybody's gone. Kevin's home alone.
Home Alone.
Home alone. At first, this seems like a dream to Kevin, who does a great job of figuring things out until the robbers who've cased the house make a crack at the theft. We follow mom trying to make it home from Paris as soon as she realizes Kevin was left. And she did call the police, as I mentioned. And the robbers, as they burgle the neighbors, and then Kevin decides to defend his home, and there's a whole bunch of very fun slapstick sort of comedy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's just an adventure.
It really is.
It's so great.
It really is. If you grew up in the 80s and find this movie charming, it's probably because it was written by John Hughes, who wrote Ferris Bueller and The Breakfast Club and 16 Candles and Pretty in Pink and a whole bunch of others.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Yep. It's like the Goonies meets Castaway.
Oh, it really
you know
is.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's the same kind of adventure, but like with one kid.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah. He's castaway in his home.
Own home.
Yeah. Yeah. John Hughes said he conceived of Home Alone while he was preparing to go on vacation himself. He was thinking about making a list of all the things he needed to take, and he was like, I better make sure I take my kids. And he kind of laughed to himself that he should put the kids on the list. And then thought, what if I left my 10-year-old son at home? And that's how the whole idea of this was born, which I thought was really fun. Old Man Marley wasn't in the first part of the script.
In the script?
No, Chris Columbus did an uncredited rewrite, the director. and added Old Man Marley, which I thought was fun. And John Mulaney was asked to audition for the role of Kevin.
Oh.
And his parents declined.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. Which I didn't know that. John Candy plays Gus Polinski, the Polka King. And he was available for only one day to shoot all of his scenes.
All in one day.
All in one day. It took them 23 hours to shoot his scenes.
Man.
And they did it in one day. And he was only paid $414 because he was doing it as a favor to John Hughes.
Oh.
Yep. Because he was doing it as a favor and being poorly paid, basically, John Candy could say whatever he wanted. And he was the only one who was allowed to go off script. And almost all of his lines were improvised.
That's so amazing, right?
Super fun. Roger Ebert found it flawed.
Flawed? Okay. Okay, let's hear what you had to say, Ebert. Look, I got opinions.
Yeah, I
got
know.
opinions. Bring it.
I get it. Home Alone is about an 8-year-old hero who single-handedly stymies 2 house burglars by booby-trapping the house. And they're the kinds of traps any 8-year-old could devise if he had a budget of tens of thousands of dollars and the assistance of a crew of movie special effects people. I'm like, okay, that's fair, but this is a
Suspend your disbelief, man.
Exactly. I'm like... It's just fun. It's supposed to be unbelievable.
Yes.
It's just supposed to be fun.
Right.
And he said he would have liked it more if maybe he could have just had taken the whole robbery bit out of it. I'm like, it wouldn't have been nearly as much fun of a movie.
Right. Like,
because the whole reason that it appeals to children and their dads is because of the slapstick comedy.
Yeah, right. I mean, it would have been far less fun.
Oh, yeah. I agree. Bill Cosford of the Miami Herald wished it had been a little bit shorter. He liked it overall, but thought it was a little shorter. You're halfway into Home Alone and just beginning to wonder why the movie has slowed down before you realize that Hughes and director Chris Columbus are up to. They're making a big, soapy, holiday perennial movie. So Home Alone lumbers where it might have skated and ends up groaning under the cliche load. So he just thought it was a little too long, which I could kind of see. They could have trimmed a few things.
I mean, it's only an hour and a half or hour and 43 minutes.
Oh, well.
That's not long.
No, that's fine. I mean, it's not terrible, but they could have cut 10 or 15 minutes out of it and told the same story.
That's probably true.
But that's fine. Whatever.
But yeah, I feel like he's really... Boy, he better not watch any movies today. He's really not going to like it.
That's fair.
The average movie today?
Yeah,
not even close.
Yeah,
Usually it's 2 hours and 43 minutes.
Movies are too long now.
Movies are too long now. If you want to know, okay, movie theaters, I'm going to give you a hot tip right now. Tell the studios to make shorter movies because the reason why streaming is kicking your behind is because people want to be at home where they can pause and go to the bathroom. And all of the service at the table thing is really awesome, except that people are walking in between you, and then you know when the end of the movie's coming because they give you your check.
Yes.
So these things that you've done to make it more comfortable are actually keeping people at home.
Yeah.
Hot take, you've got to tell the studios to make shorter movies, and you've got to find another way to serve.
I need more hour-and-a-half long movies that have a full story.
Yes.
And aren't just the beginning of a trilogy.
Thank you.
Because it's an hour and a half.
Thank you. And really, servers, I love the service at the table. And I think they actually do a really good job. Like Alamo Drafthouse does a great job of them sneaking.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like it's not that distracting, actually.
Right.
Especially like in the aisles around me. It's
right.
only distracting if they're talking to me. And in that case, that's fine. I've called this upon myself.
Right.
However, don't give checks until the credits roll.
Yeah.
Allow
fair.
people to be able to pay without that because that's a big spoiler.
Yeah.
If you've lost yourself in the timing of the movie, if you're watching it, it's like a big, like, wow, oh, I guess we're coming up to the end. Mm-hmm. And then I'm very distracted by that.
Right. That's fair. That's fair.
Yep. So that's why streaming is winning.
Uh-huh. Yes. And you won't get COVID if you're at home.
Nope.
And nobody else has it there.
Nope.
So...
It's true. It's
right.
true. But actually, I have been to movies. And I have to say they're doing a freaking fantastic job.
Yeah, they're doing a good job.
Of spacing and keeping everybody clean.
Great.
It's like it feels far safer than I thought it was going to be the first time I ventured out to this.
Good.
Like, it's not scary.
Oh,
so I have
good.
to give them some big props because I thought it was going to be like, oh my God. But they're spacing people, and you forget how big that movie theater is.
Yeah, they're large.
Yeah, it's just so big. Like, there's so much fresh air, and there's like wind in your face all the time.
No!
So it's great.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Well, we're going to take a real quick break and be right back with Is It True? Psychology Break and Real Life right after this.
Woohoo! So here's how it works. Christy wrecks her search history. Hey, NSA, we promise it's nothing more nefarious than a podcast. To find out what's true, some of the psychological motivations behind the characters' actions, and real-life applications that relate to our topic. I have no idea what Christy decided to look up. Could be the same thing that captured my curiosity or something I never thought of.
Is it true? Of course, micro machines were real.
I know.
I remember them.
Me too.
Kevin is asked to pick them up at the beginning of the movie, and they feature in a booby trap at the end of the movie. They first came out in 1987 by Gloob, and they really were probably at the height of their popularity in 1990. That would have been a reference every kid got.
Mm-hmm. They probably got it that Christmas morning.
Yes, exactly. They were one of the largest selling toy lines in the U.S. for several years, and they exceeded sales of Hot Wheels, Matchbox, and Majorette.
Wow.
Yeah, which is huge. And if you were alive when they were having the advertisements of this out, you knew the advertisements because they had the campaign that involved fast talker John Moshida Jr., and he was known as the Micro Machine Man because he talked super fast.
Yeah.
He was able to
Like
talk really fast and be
thing.
still clear, and it was amazing. And he had this whole blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So,
yeah, it's bananas.
Yeah. It was super fast. And now they do that, but they like have somebody say it and they speed it up.
I know.
But you couldn't do that at that time without making somebody sound like a chipmunk.
Right.
So this guy had a career because he could talk really fast.
I bet Eminem could do it.
Oh, probably. I mean, there's people who could do it now,
Yeah.
but they just don't want to pay them extra to do it because they're a fast talker.
Exactly.
So, okay,
we're going to have to talk about this. I just saw it. I saw the paper, people. I saw the paper.
And I literally have "Forgive Me, Jackie" on this. Written in my notes.
Okay, tell me what you're going to tell me. Because I didn't see past that, so I will still have to be surprised. But...
I will make it fast.
Okay.
So Kevin's brother Buzz said he had fed his pet tarantula mice guts and that he would be good for a couple of weeks. He didn't have to worry about having somebody come in and feed his 8-legged pet.
I'm going to say true.
While he was gone.
I'm going to say that's true.
Yes, it is true. You are correct.
Freaky little things.
Except, well, it's true and it's not.
Okay.
So it's true that they only need to eat every 7 to 14 days.
That's creepy. Okay.
Okay. But they wouldn't eat mice guts.
Oh.
You couldn't give them like just the interior of a creature and expect them to eat it. They want live prey because they've been developed as predators. So you would give them like...
You have to give them the live mouse.
Yeah, no, actually mice are not recommended.
Oh.
Yeah, they would recommend things like crickets or mealworms.
Oh.
Yeah, but less gross.
Far less gross.
Yeah, so you would have to have a much larger specimen, which are not typically kept as pets because they tend to be more aggressive. Tarantulas tend to not be very aggressive.
Yeah.
Unless you're you. And
they're horrifying. They're horrifying. That whole scene. Every time I see it, I'm like,
I know.
Hands over the face.
I'm watching it and I'm like, oh, poor Jackie. That was a really long time to be on that
spider. It's a
spider.
long time. It's longer than you think. But him with that crowbar, and I'm like, I couldn't even do it. I'd be gone.
Yeah.
That's all Kevin would have had to do if I was casing the house. He'd have just been like, answer the door. Hello. And I'd be like, ah! Run away. That's it.
Well, we know how to keep Jackie away if we need to.
Oh, it's so true. It's so true.
All right, I'm done. Done
Okay,
talking
good.
about
Done with
the
the
eight-legged
blah.
fiends.
All right, what you got next?
So Buzz says French women don't shave. Au contraire.
Do they now? Or did they then? Like, is there a...
I think that especially younger women at that time did shave their armpits in 1990.
Okay, I'm surprised. I thought they probably still were...
There's still more of an acceptance in Europe of not shaving armpits or legs.
Right.
But most women do now at least shave their armpits. Many shave their legs as well.
Okay.
And even in 1990, it would have been more of a thing that happened, even despite the rumors. Now, where the stereotype came from was actually GIs stationed in France just after World War II.
Right. So that was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. Mm-hmm. It was a war-torn country at that time.
Yeah.
And razors weren't a thing that people could get easily.
Right.
So that is why there's the stereotype that French women don't shave. They actually do.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'd rather be French and not shave.
I mean,
I'm done. The shaving thing, I've got a soapbox about shaving. I really do.
It was just done to sell more razors.
I mean, really.
That's literally the only reason that we shave.
I told my husband this because I was trying to explain like my rebellion a little bit. And the fact that I'm even using the word rebellion tells you exactly where the whole thing comes from. It's cultural because as I told him, except for things like military, swimming, athletics, certain things where you might choose to shave for like a function of some sort. Beyond that, most men shave for their preference,
right?
Their aesthetic preference. It's just an expression. Long hair, short hair, shaved, not shaved. These are groomed, shaped, whatever. These are things. Women don't make the choice to shave for the same reason. Right. They do it to get to baseline.
Yeah, that's societal pressure, not preference.
Not preference. Mm-hmm. So it's like it's very different. You know, when you feel like you have to be shaven and you have to do these things in order to reach baseline. Mm-hmm. It means when you're not shaving, you actually feel like you're in a deficit. Right? Like you're unclean.
Yeah.
Versus being clean and then having a preference. And so I told my husband, I was like, I would prefer if women could just choose based on their preference. Mm-hmm. Where would they like to be clean? Where would they like to groom, and how would they like to groom?
Yeah,
you know, and
exactly.
Yada yada. I think that would be far, far better.
So Buzz tells Kevin that their elderly snow shoveling neighbor, old man Marley, is really the South Bend snow shovel slayer. And his victims get mummified in the salt. And the salt bit is mostly true.
Well, yeah, I guess salt does mummify. Mm-hmm. That would be correct.
Right. And in ancient Egypt, they used a salt mixture with sodium carbonate, soda ash, baking soda, table salt, sodium sulfate. They mixed all of that stuff together, and it acted like a desiccant would dry out the mummies. Mm-hmm. So that part of it is true.
But there's no
South Bend snow shovel slayer. No, there is not. I looked up. I will post these on our social media. There's a bunch of fun theories about whether Old Man Marley really is the snow shovel slayer or who might actually be the snow shovel slayer.
I have also given some time to the rabbit hole of Home Alone theories.
Oh, okay. Do you have a favorite?
I think the one that makes me laugh the most is that Kevin grew up to be the Jigsaw killer in Saw. I think that's my favorite because it's just funny.
Okay.
But I think the other one that's intriguing, that's like, plausible, is that Uncle Jerk
yes.
Put out the hit. And that they're a mob family.
Oh.
That Peter's a mob boss. That's why he's in, quote, business. That's why when the cop came in to say something, he was like, have I done something wrong? Instead of just talking to the cop. And that's why that's why it was like all orchestrated. And that, and It turns out, though, in the original script, the uncle did hire the thieves. But then that got changed later on.
Okay.
Right? So if it plays out a little bit like he hates Kevin, he hates that, he's kind of like...
It's because that
actually was kind of the motivation. Like he...
Huh.
But now in the movie, they don't ever allude to the thieves are just burglaring...
Right.
The
whole neighborhood. But everybody's gone at the same time.
At the same time. Like, so you have somewhere better to go than that neighborhood at Christmas?
I mean, for real.
Come on. But Paris.
Yeah, I mean, yes, Paris. But are all the other neighbors are also gone?
I mean, really? I feel like not a chance. But what was it? What did they call themselves? Because he had the calling card of leaving the water
on. The wet bandits.
The wet bandits. And I'm like, oh, Lord have mercy. And so they don't play that little uncle theory at all. Mm-mm. But his demeanor and all that stuff in the beginning with the chaos.
My favorite theory is that John Candy is the real South Bend snow shovel slayer. That was my favorite one.
Funny.
Yeah. All right. So Little Nero's Pizza, fictional, of course, but on the 25th anniversary of the movie in 2015, 20th Century Fox and Uber Eats teamed up to have a fictional pizza place open for one day only. And you could get a piece of Little Nero's Pizza delivered to your house by Uber Eats if you lived in Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and New York from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. on November the 6th, 2015.
That is so funny.
Yes. I thought it was really super fun. And the drivers would put like a magnet on their car that said Little Nero's Pizza, and they delivered it in Little Nero's pizza boxes, and they had a Little Nero's hat. Super fun.
I want to know how many people played the movie to say, keep the change or filthy animal, and like the whole thing. Like who all played out the whole scenario?
That's so fun.
If you're listening and you know somebody who did this and played out the whole scenario, I want to know about it.
Tell me now.
Tell me now.
Send it in by the 14th so I can include it in the in our Christmas episode. Anyway, super fun. So Dad McAllister said there wasn't much they could do to protect their home except put lights on timers and lock the doors. I'm like,
okay.
It's 1990. That's not true.
That's not true. There's like full-on alarm systems.
Like in 1990.
Yeah.
Now, they weren't super affordable in 1990, but
True.
I mean, this house was not super affordable.
Right. Like they had money. They could have done at least a simple alarm.
At least a simple alarm. Early alarms actually date back much further than you would think.
Okay, yeah. Tell me.
In 1853, Augustus Russell Pope developed a prototype magnetic alarm system in Boston. This is from BoydSecurity.com. And it was battery operated, and when an electrical circuit was closed, when you opened a window or a door, so like wherever the door moved, it closed the circuit, and it would cause a flow of current, and the magnets would vibrate and cause a hammer to strike a bell.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah. And like it even had other components to keep the bell ringing, even if you closed the window.
Oh, interesting.
So it continued to go off. It was pretty cool. And then Edward A. Callahan in 1871, the stuff that he developed and the concept helped form the company ADT.
Oh, okay.
Had an alarm system that would alert homeowners of a burglary and notify police and fire services all at the same time.
Right. So that was the first time they integrated the phone line.
But yeah,
okay.
They didn't even, phones weren't even widespread.
No.
That wasn't a thing that most people had, but somehow they figured it out. And video surveillance started in the 1940s.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, the pictures were bad.
Yeah.
I mean, even when they became more mainstream in the 1970s,
they were still pretty bad.
They were still pretty bad, but you could do it. Mm-hmm. And then in the 80s, this home automation technology started to come about, and that's when people started to get it. And then it didn't get really affordable until the 90s.
Yeah.
But they had money.
They had money. They could have had ADT.
Yep, exactly.
They could at least had a sign out.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a whole study that shows just having the sign out.
Yeah,
as,
it does.
Accounts for 80-something% of the safety involved, whether you have one or not.
Right. Yeah.
Just put the sign out. People are like, forget about it.
Yeah.
I'm even trying.
Exactly.
Not
Well,
worth
and
it.
they're not going to break in your front door if you have a video doorbell that they can see.
Yeah.
I get a far fewer people coming to the door trying to sell me anything now that I have a video doorbell because they know I can see who they are.
Yep.
And they just don't bother.
Exactly.
Yep. So do you want to watch Angels with Filthy Souls?
Not a real movie.
Nope. Too bad for you. It's not
I got
real.
it right.
The segment that was shown was made specifically for Home Alone, but the title is a reference to a real 1938 film starring James Cagney and Humphrey Bogart called Angels with Dirty Faces.
Okay. Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Yeah.
So good.
It's so silly. So sunny. So sunny?
Sunny?
Oh, God. Maybe I need more coffee. It's so funny. I love all that's good and holy.
Yeah. Such a sunny movie.
No, not at all. It's all snowy. Anyway, those booby traps, they make for a funny movie. Mm-hmm. And kids and adults can really enjoy the mirth of that slapstick comedy together. But they were brutal and pretty lethal.
Yeah.
Could the robbers have been able to keep chasing Kevin?
I don't think so.
No.
They'd be dead.
No. I mean, just that just the falling on the ice.
I mean, that's enough, right?
I mean, for me, that would be enough.
For a lot of people. I mean, the fact that he comes out without some breaking something or whatever.
Yeah, or
but
just
an iron to the face.
Oh, I mean,
you're done.
I mean, for real. At best, you're talking concussion.
Oh yeah, you're out.
At best, because it fell from quite a height.
I mean,
so
yeah.
he goes and pulls the light switch, and it's not really a light bulb that it's attached to an iron that falls down.
The Rube Goldberg of the whole booby trapping is really fun.
I think it's really fun, and I think that's just part of the you don't worry about how plausible it is. It's just fun.
And actually, I take issue with Ebert saying that it was money, because I don't think it was money. I think it was a crew of people who figured out how to work it. I don't think an 8-year-old would. But actually, everything was pretty rudimentary as far as that was actually true to form. Mm-hmm. It doesn't take money to rig up a string and an iron.
Right.
It doesn't. It doesn't take money to do the whole fan and I don't think you need, and let's be honest, that house is $10,000 worth of resources. So
at least.
So, but I mean, whether an 8-year-old could figure it out, well, you'd have to be a pretty genius. But I love the Rube Goldberg.
I know, it's so fun
where it's just it's fun.
Yeah. So the blowtorch booby trap. Where he opens the back door and it causes the blowtorch to come on. Okay, first of all, I don't have a blowtorch hanging around my house, though that was a April Fool's Day joke we played on my kid once.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we told him that we don't have guns in the house, but we do have a flamethrower. And that he didn't know where it was because he's a child and we didn't want him to play with it. And he literally believed us all day long.
Oh, that's funny.
Uh-huh. Yeah. But he would have had at least second, maybe third degree burns.
Oh, yeah.
In a pretty tender spot. And, he putting his head in the snow. Smart. Good move. As long as he didn't pass out from shock before he made it to the snow.
I was going to say, oh my gosh.
For real. The paint can trap. I mean, definitely would have lost more than just his gold tooth.
Oh, definitely. We had a time broken nose, bloody.
Yeah.
Especially because it's a full paint can. You can tell that.
Yeah.
It's heavy.
Because they swung smoothly, so they had to have paint in them. Mm-hmm. And multiple face fractures could possibly cause a brain bleed. Oh, this would not have been get up and still chase the kid situation. No. All of the sources that we use to inform our discussion here on Killer Fun Podcast can be found on our social media. Join us on Facebook at Killer Fun Podcast, exploring the intersection of crime and entertainment. You can find us on Twitter at Killer Fun Pod, or you can send us an email at killerfunpodcast@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to share a link to whatever information you're looking for. We love to hear from you. You might learn a little something too. All right, psychology break.
Okay.
All right.
Hit me up.
So Kevin has a lot of animosity for his family and wished that they would disappear, and feeling like you hate your family sometimes. It's not really all that uncommon.
No.
Very well mined. I Hate My Family, What You Should Do If You Feel This Way by Kendra Cherry and reviewed by Dr. Rachel Goldman. You have a couple options. If you feel like you don't get along with your family well, you can either try and figure out how to fix these broken relationships, or you set and enforce boundaries so that you interact with them in less harmful ways. So I thought it would be interesting to look at some of the signs of a toxic family relationships.
Oh, okay.
And see how many of these fit. Disrespected. You feel that your family members do not respect your needs. Okay, they told Kevin to go pack and he had no idea how to pack.
Yeah, and nobody would help him. And he's going to Paris.
Yeah.
Like in winter.
Like, yes, across country, or not across country, across the ocean.
Yeah, like help the kid.
Yes.
Help the kid.
Help the kid. Exploited. Toxic family members have high expectations, yet do not return the favor. So, you know, they expected him to pack. The uncle expected Kevin to, you know, behave like an older child.
Right.
Even though his pizza was eaten.
Well, by an older child who was bullying him.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
Really, like targeted, like ate it in front of him.
Yes.
Like terrible.
Yes. Really, like, okay, so toxic. Unsupported.
Look what you did, you little jerk.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
exactly.
Uncle jerk.
Totally unsupported. Misunderstood. Toxic people make little effort to understand you as an individual. They thought he was totally incompetent. All of the cousins, siblings basically told him he was completely incompetent.
Yep.
And he showed them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Negative. These people often bring out your worst qualities and leave you feeling negative about others in the world in general.
Oh, yikes.
I mean, yes, Kevin's brother, like, totally knew how to push his buttons.
Oh, yeah.
And some of that's, you know, just like normal sibling behavior.
Right.
But it seemed a little extreme even for that.
Well, I mean, even if it's kind of normal for the moment, the fact was that the parents weren't there to sort of soften it or to create some safe space outside of it or to, you know, guide it. Like at that point when he's eating the kid's pizza, his dinner, somebody needs to be like, okay, enough.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, torture him in his room, tell him stories about the next door neighbor. Like,
right. Yeah.
But no, the child will eat before bed before we go to Paris in the morning.
Exactly.
Please.
Like, I'm sorry he ate all your pizza. Can I pull some pepperoni off of this pizza for you? Let me help you, 8-year-old.
Or like, let me just help.
Yeah, exactly. Blamed when things don't go as planned. Toxic family members may heap the blame on you and refuse to take responsibility for their own actions. Uncle. That uncle.
Oh, I saw something that role was written for Kelsey Grammer.
I saw that too.
Okay, and can you totally see him in that role?
Yes.
Totally can. But the uncle, the actor, he did a great job.
He did, but I could totally see Kelsey Grammer
totally see
in that. And how to cope. I think Kevin did some of these really well. Acknowledge your feelings.
Yes, he did.
He acknowledged and felt his anger. Decide how to proceed. He shopped for himself and paid attention to his own hygiene when he realized everybody was gone and he did not yet know that they had just gone to Paris.
Yeah.
He thought that, you know, his Christmas wish had been granted and they had just disappeared. But then you can mend your relationships. Man, he wished for his family to return because he realized that he liked them more than he thought he did. Yeah. Establish boundaries. We didn't really see that, but he also they weren't around a lot for him to establish his boundaries.
He's 8.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
how many boundaries can you have?
Well, I mean, we don't even see his room.
That's very true.
We don't even
sleeps in the attic.
Yeah, he sleeps in the attic and then he sleeps in his parents' room. We don't even see his room.
Right.
Like, we don't even know where he lives in this house, you know? So I don't know about boundaries.
Maybe we had a boundary as the audience because we didn't see his room.
We didn't see it. And, you know, but I think the mending, like, especially because he ends up realizing he's left behind, I think.
Yeah.
I think he does.
Yeah.
And he wishes for the family back. But then when the mom comes in and is like, oh my God, I think that was what he needed. He
Yes.
needed to know that, because it was the mom telling him, you're going to be sad.
Uh-huh.
And his whole point was, you're not.
Yeah.
You're not going to be sad. You wouldn't be sad. You're mad. You think I miss you, but would you miss me?
Yeah.
Like, that's where an 8-year-old's coming from. Well, she did.
Yeah.
And he needed that. And
Yeah.
so, like, when she rushed in, and I think that was the mending.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Mm-hmm. And maintain your privacy. I think Kevin actually did this really well because he did not let anybody know that the house had been under attack.
He cleaned it all up.
Except for Buzz's room.
Is a little sociopathic.
That he cleaned it. Well, and he did a shockingly good job for an 8-year-old.
That's what's scary. He thought of every little place, all the little blood drops. He didn't leave a shred of evidence.
That's why he grew up to be on Saw.
that whole conspiracy theory is so funny.
That is funny.
If you want to see about that, you can go watch Screen Rant. They got the whole thing about it.
They
it's
do.
Funny.
That's fun. And maybe Mom McAllister should have tried a different tactic with angry Kevin rather than just telling him to ask Santa for a new family.
Yeah. No,
maybe
she lost it.
She did. And I can appreciate that. But also, maybe don't.
Maybe don't.
Yeah. A Mother Far From Home had a blog about this sort of thing. When your children act like they don't like you, how to respond. We're tempted to make our parenting decisions based on our children's emotions in the moment. And that's exactly what she did.
That's what she did.
She maybe could have paid him a little more attention. He was feeling anger because he was left out and powerless in the situation. And instead of digging into that, she just told him to go to bed. It's really not helpful.
It was not helpful.
No. And maybe explain to him in a way that was age appropriate what he needed to be doing or how he should behave differently or how the adults had behaved inappropriately, because sometimes that's really important too. And then if she could have asked him a little bit more about how he was feeling and why he was feeling that way, maybe she could have helped him a little better.
Right.
She didn't do a good job. We all don't make great parenting choices.
We all lose it.
Yeah.
I think another thing I'd add to that is like owning your own feelings as a parent, because that demonstrates. So like there's definitely been times where my margin is gone.
Right.
And I'm whatever. And I think one thing that I do with the kids that I'm happy that I do, like I guess I'm proud of myself for this, because I made a decision early on, having a husband that was in and out and gone a lot. I was by myself. So margin, and and so I realized that sometimes I need to own it and literally just tell them, like when I feel like they're being bugging. And you're like, okay, in the beginning where he's all like, why don't you get off the phone and tell me to, whatever. Like she should have been the one to turn around and go, it's chaos. I'm like confused. I've got stuff to handle. I can't handle you right now. Can you leave me alone? I need the space.
Yeah. There you go.
I need the space. Like, I'm the one who's about to lose it. Like, and so there are definitely times when the kids will come out and they're all happy about something, like some project or whatever. And I am like, mush. And I like look at them and I'm like, I really do care about that, but not right now. I can't. I don't care. And actually, I need space. Like, you got to leave me alone. Because it's me. And I think owning that allows them to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I need space. I'm frustrated or whatever. But like owning it. Yeah. He just felt like she just blamed him instead of saying, kid, I love you. It's chaotic.
Yeah. It's a nightmare here with 18 people in this house.
I've got something on the phone right now. I can't. I will talk to you later.
And she did move the cousin, the wetting the bed cousin.
Did.
So that was good.
So she did something there.
She did something. Could have been better.
It could have been better. That's all right. But that's okay. We understand.
That's right. We do understand.
We understand.
So Kevin talked to himself in the mirror, and there's benefits of this that are twofold.
Okay.
So mindblowingfacts.org had an article about a study. I didn't go and read the study, but the people's names, Daniel Swingley and Gary Lupon, who did the study, their names are here, that talking to yourself in a mirror actually makes you smarter. If you stand in front of a mirror, constantly talk to yourself, you turn out to be a smarter individual. Chatting to oneself enhances cognitive function, which makes you more intelligent.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah. They did some experiments, these two researchers, where they would show people like everyday objects, and they were told to remember the photographs.
Okay.
And so sometimes they told them, remember them silently.
Okay.
And sometimes they told them they could talk or do whatever. And the people who spoke out loud remembered it better.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Makes sense.
and they could answer questions more successfully about it. So that was kind of interesting. And then the other part to that is that Kevin may have been a little more anxious than he seemed. Mm-hmm. And self-talk can boost confidence.
That's great.
Yeah. This is from Psychology Today, Dr. Tara Well. It's no secret that words of encouragement nurture self-confidence and self-esteem and increase one's chances for success, and it works even when the encouragement comes from yourself. It can reduce your anxiety and heighten your self-confidence by giving yourself a pep talk in the mirror.
Hey,
so if you're feeling nervous, go talk to yourself in the mirror. I've been telling my children this for years.
Now I understand why my child is overly confident, because he loves mirrors.
Oh.
He just thinks he's beautiful. He is.
He
spends a lot of time looking in a mirror.
Does he talk to himself a lot in the mirror?
Oh, yeah. But it's all nonsense. I mean, it's not nonsense. He's silly.
Yeah.
So he talks to himself silly.
Yeah.
It's just silly. It's fun. He has fun.
Yeah.
He's a silly individual.
Yeah. And he's very self-confident.
And he's very confident.
Yes. All right. Real life.
Okay. Before we go to real life.
Oh, okay. You have something else.
I have a plot hole I want to talk about.
Okay.
That's not a plot hole.
Okay. It's a plot hole that's not a plot hole.
Yes.
Okay.
Here was my question always. Okay. They got to the airport. They had done the head count, but they had to check everybody in. Okay. And what? Why? Okay. You know where I'm going?
Yeah. Do they have this child's passport?
Yeah.
And how do they not have a child for the passport?
Yeah. So I'm watching this, and that chaos scene where he hits Buzz and all the things tip over and the milk spills everywhere. All right. Zero in on this. Peter, Dad says, get the passports, and grabs a whole pile of napkins and passports and kind of lifts them up, and the mom comes in and swoops underneath and walks away for the passports, and the dad takes the napkins and throws them in the trash, and there's a shot of the trash. And I've never paid attention to this shot of the trash, but there is no shot in a movie that is not purposeful. Underneath the napkins, peeking out, passport.
Kevin, that's why.
That's why they never knew.
Wow.
Plot hole filled. Only took me 1990 to 2021.
Yeah. 31
Plot
years.
Hole
Yeah.
Passports underneath the napkins, and you could see it peeking out. Oh. That's why there's a shot of him throwing the trash in the trash can, which is you think okay, well, I mean, we know what trash looks like in a trash can. What was it, just for effect of how wet they were? Uh-huh. No.
Yeah.
Because he had said, get the passports, and then you see the whole split. That's why they didn't have a passport for him at the airport, which is why it didn't dawn on her. Because the numbers were right, all the passports were right, nothing red flagged.
And they were late.
Yeah,
they didn't think they were going to make it.
Security was not the same.
No, it was not the same.
I think today it's not even possible, because you would have had to go through security, which is such a slow, painstaking process. Uh-huh. And then they could literally just run through metal detectors to the friggin' gateway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you could go to the gate with people who were leaving. Anybody could I just feel like going, there's a Sparrow in there. Off. Yeah. There's a Sparrow in there, and I like the pizza, you know, you could just go and do that. And now if you don't have a ticket, you don't go. Yeah, no.
My dad walked my sister on the plane when she flew to Australia. Really? Wow. Right? Walked her on the plane. She was a high school senior. Okay. Walked her on the plane.
Made sure she was sat down and everything. Mm-hmm. Wow.
And then walked off because she was going to do an exchange thing. I mean, you could do all that. I mean,
well, you can still walk somebody to the plane if they have a need for it.
But you'd have to have a special permission. And
yes, you have to go and yes. You have to get a special ticket thing.
Yeah.
It's not a ticket. You don't have to pay for it, but
It's a whole thing though.
Yeah. But if you have like an unaccompanied minor, you can go and meet them, or you're picking up an unaccompanied minor.
Yeah.
You can meet them at the
Because when I
gate.
was a kid, I flew alone from Texas back to Georgia when I was in 4th grade, going into 5th grade. So summer 4th to 5th.
So you're like 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and they walked me on the plane.
Yeah.
And sat me down, and then Dad walked off. You know, and stuff like that. And
Wow.
Yeah, even 10.
Yeah.
Now I don't. I mean, do they even let 10-year-olds fly by themselves anymore? I don't know.
I don't know that they do actually. Huh. I don't know.
It was super fun though.
Right.
I got wings.
That's the best.
But they were like real ones.
Yeah.
Right?
Like metal.
Metal.
Yeah.
I say real. Metal rings instead of like plastic wings.
Yeah. Real life.
Real life. Sorry. I went on a tangent.
No, that's fine. Someone should have done something to help Kevin pack.
I mean, someone really should have.
I know I keep harping on this, but it's like the thing that really is like,
Yeah.
for the love of all that's good and holy, he's a child. Help him pack.
Yes.
I mean,
Why won't they help him pack?
I don't know. Do you not want him to have underwear? Do you want him to have micro machines and nothing else in his bag?
Of course, the way he'd probably pack, they'd get to the airport and he'd be like, weaponry.
Yeah. I'm sorry, son. You can't take a switchblade on the airplane. Yeah. So familyadventureproject.org has a blog post about hacking the packing, teach kids how to pack light and right.
Oh, good.
Which I thought this was really cool. That make a list, encourage the kids to make their own list, and then help them to edit it. Take things off that they don't really need, add things on that they really do need. Roll and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
which
thing
is a great one. If you roll things, then they fit better. Have multifunctional garments, things you can mix and match so that you have different outfits. I can't agree with this one.
Uh-oh.
The rule of 3, 1 to wear, 1 to wash, 1 to dry. They're like, basically, you don't ever need more than 3 pairs of underwear or socks because you can wash them in the sink.
Well, that is
I'm
true. I have a little, it's a little mini agitator.
Okay.
Right? And it's got like the little magnet pulse thing.
Oh.
Right? And you just fill up the sink and you put it at the bottom and it'll actually agitate. It agitates, but it also like sends like the pulse. So it knocks all the stuff off of it. So you can kind of rinse. But who wants to spend time doing that?
I don't. That's the thing. I'm like, underwear take up so little space.
Yeah.
Just if I'm gone for 7 days, give me 7 pairs of underwear.
I mean, yeah.
I'll roll and stuff them into something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff them in your shoes. It'll help keep the form of the shoes, too.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Well, and they talk about that. Yeah. Stuff into a.
Yeah.
And then they say don't take pajamas, which I'm like, it depends on how many people you're sharing a room with. But they're saying basically like, to maybe sleep in your clothes and then wear them the next day and have that be your pajamas. But I'm like, I don't want to be all rumpled. And
I do tend to, when I travel, I don't necessarily pack pajama, but I pack like sweatpants kind of, and like a tank top that if I were to throw underwear on and a sweatshirt, I just have a sweatsuit on.
Right.
So I could leave. I could go downstairs and get something or at the hotel.
Right.
Or if somebody were to come into the room, I'm just in lounge kind of clothes.
Right.
And that'll be kind of my pajamas.
Right.
Instead of packing actual pajama pants or something that I would be like, ooh, I can't.
just like pajamas don't take up that much space, really.
No.
I mean, for me, like, especially if all 4 of us are sharing a room, which occasionally happens if we're traveling, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not made of money. I can't afford 2 hotel rooms.
Right. No.
So, the kids are sleeping in the same room. I got to cover the ladies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know what? I definitely have pajamas, but I definitely don't use them as much as I do my sweatpants, though. So that might just be my me thing, because I wear sweatpants and like kind of sports stuff.
Yeah.
For like sleeping.
Me too. Yeah.
So it's like
I have sporty leggings that
I could go to the gym or I could go to bed.
Yeah.
That's my personality right there.
The gym or bed. There you go. There you go. I mean, don't take a pillow.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah.
I have to agree with that one.
Yeah, me too. I need more than 3 pairs of underwear. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Bag it up and squeeze. Which I've done this. It was actually great when we took the kids to Disney World. I would bag everybody's clothes for the day and have them labeled. And then I'd put them all in the bag and smush and zip it up.
Yep.
And man, it was great.
Packing cubes help with that too.
Yeah. There's lots of different, you can use like just Ziploc bags.
Yeah.
Or there's lots of items on the market that can help with that sort of thing.
Yep. Take
only small technology things. Let your phone do the heavy lifting.
Yeah. No, I'm going to be taking my laptop. Sorry.
Yeah.
But I agree.
Yeah. If you can.
If you can, though. It's nice.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
If
well,
Apple,
especially for kids. Kids, maybe if you're going on vacation, they probably don't have a need for a laptop.
I got one who does, but the other one does. We are just a really creepy techie family though.
Yeah. Well, but if you're going on vacation, there's an argument to say maybe you only need to take your iPad and your phone, not your iPad, your phone, your iPod, your your big headphones.
See, I got one kid who writes on the laptop and that's it.
Okay.
So I'm like, really? I mean, but his script writing software, which is not cheap, is on the daggone laptop.
Well, there you go. Take small toys. Don't take big toys because this is for children.
I know, toys.
His micro machine would have been great. Take 5 of those.
Yeah.
You can play with them on the plane. You can do whatever.
Yeah.
Do be sure to take your toothbrush.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to have to be without that, but maybe leave your hairdryer at home unless you need a specific hairdryer. Most hotels, unless you're working with the most budget options, are going to have at least a hairdryer for you and maybe other things. Mm-hmm. Don't take towels. Those are usually where you're going. And if you have to take bulky things like a jacket or something, wear it. Because they are very concerned about the bags that you check, but not so concerned about what you're wearing. So if you've got something bulky, put it on, and then you can take it off and shove it in the overhead bin, and you're good to go. So.
Good deal.
Yeah. So Little Nero's Pizza advertised 20 minutes or less delivery, or it was free, and we don't really see that anymore, and there's a reason.
Well, because Domino's had
30 minutes or less guarantee, and it resulted in a $78 million lawsuit.
Ooh, what?
Yeah.
A lawsuit?
A lawsuit. Oh, actually.
Over pizza?
Over a lot of them.
Why?
A lot of them. Because they said the time constraint caused the drivers to drive recklessly to try and get it to the person in under 30 minutes. And it's the thing that really propelled Domino's into they were the number 2 pizza company in the country. Mm-hmm. And that's what did it. And they started out in the 70s with half an hour or $50 off. So if it didn't get there in 30 minutes, they gave you a discount.
No, that's all right.
That seems all right. And then 1979 is when they introduced the 30 minutes or it's free. But they did that because they were generally, in most cases, delivering in under 30 minutes anyway.
Right. So it didn't feel it, but then the pressure was on.
But then the pressure was on. The owner, Tom Monahan, who started Domino's in Ann Arbor, Michigan, said it was a public perception of driving recklessly, that he didn't really think that they were driving recklessly, but it gave a perception of that. Mm-hmm. And so people were trying to game the system where they turn off their porch lights or refuse to answer their door
until it was
late. So, but really what they did was anything that left the store 25 minutes after they got the order was marked as late. And then they would get it for free. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know but it was this whole thing, and the drivers didn't have to pay for the pizza. Mm-hmm. So they're really, maybe the idea that it was only a perceived reckless driving is maybe sort of accurate. But they scaled back the 30 minutes or it's free and started giving a discount like they did before, except it was $3 off. Okay. But there was a woman who was hit by a driver, Jean Kidder, in 1989. And she sued the company, saying that the delivery guarantee encouraged the drivers to act recklessly. And in 1993, a jury agreed with her.
Wow.
And they gave her $750,000 in actual damages and $78 million in punitive damages.
Whoa.
Yep. And they said that this very expensive verdict was certainly what put them over the edge of not having the 30 minutes or less guarantee. Though it persists in other parts of the world. So Domino's has a similar sort of guarantee in India.
Okay.
And they call their delivery drivers safe delivery people.
Okay.
And they usually are able to deliver in 10 minutes or less.
Wow.
But they use special motorbikes that can't drive faster than about 28 miles an hour. So they've got this whole situation. It's a little bit different. So
yeah, it's the same thing when we were in Korea, and you'd order pizza and they were always on their little 30cc kind of things, but they were weaving and bobbing and all this stuff. And they'd be have stacked pizzas in the back and then be one extra that didn't fit. So they'd be having one up here and one hand on the handlebar and weaving and bobbing.
Wow.
And, yeah, it was funny.
Yeah. Do criminals ever really leave these real calling cards?
Oh, yeah.
No, well, they're pretty rare, actually.
I mean, for petty criminals, for sure.
Right. Well, I mean, you hear about it a lot for serial killers and things like that. Even then, I mean, that's how Sam Little got away with it for so long, was he chose his victims as people that wouldn't be missed. And also he didn't do things the same all the time. Right. Because he didn't want to get caught. And this signature is the thing that's a TV trope, as tvtropes.org tells us. Okay. But it's pretty rare because it really does make it easy for them to track you down.
Yeah, and I don't think it's always I think there might be a difference between criminals who do something intentionally and criminals who do something and don't realize they're doing something the same every time. Right. And that you call that a signature. Right. That it's...
Yeah, their signature is unintentional.
Yeah. That it's just something, the way they do something is very particular to the way they do it. And they don't necessarily choose that. Right. Like the Wet Bandits.
Wet Bandits. Man, they basically made a list of all the places they'd hit because they did the Wet Bandits. It was dumb. It was really dumb. But, they're supposed to be dumb. I know. They were bested by an 8-year-old. Yeah. A very smart 8-year-old, but an 8-year-old. So Kevin realized he was being followed by the robbers, and he did a really smart thing. He went to the church instead of going home.
He was smart.
It was really smart. So safewise.com, and what to do if you think you're being followed. Don't panic. Slow down. Think things through. Go to a police station or another sort of authority office if you can. So if there's a fire station or a police station, those are the places to go. I got followed once off the highway. Somebody thought I cut him off. Oh, gosh. I didn't. I turned on my blinker and I had plenty of room, and that he sped up was not my fault.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But
they do that around here.
Yeah. He followed me off the highway, miles off the highway. It's a good, 2-3 miles from the highway to a gas station that's kind of near my house. Right. And I went to this gas station because I realized he was following me. And the kids were a little scared. So I pretended not to notice him. Yeah. And I stopped at the gas station, which is right across the street from a fire station. And he drove by and left. And once I was sure he was gone, then we left.
Then you left. Yeah. Yeah. Smart.
So if you're walking, make sure to pay attention. If your pedestrians pass by or other cars pass by you a lot, pay attention to that. Don't go home. Go to where the people are. Is probably the most important thing. So he was very smart. He went to where the people were. The church. There were a lot of people there, being Christmas Eve. Yeah. Yeah. Mom McAllister said she'd been awake for 60 hours trying to get home to her son. And it made me think maybe the polka band was a figment of her imagination. Healthline.com. How long can you go without sleep? 24 hours without sleep isn't terribly uncommon. But it does simulate a blood alcohol level of 0.1%, which is above the legal limit most places. So it's not great. So 36 hours without sleep can start to mess with your hormones, because your hormones are often determined by your sleep-wake cycle, and it can affect your appetite, your metabolism, your temperature, your mood, your stress level.
Yeah.
Things are more stressful. 48 hours without sleep, 2 days, 2 nights without sleep, you'll start to experience micro sleeps, which are 30 seconds of your brain acting like it's asleep. Yeah, it's a sleep-like state, and it's completely involuntary. You cannot really function well, and it'll disrupt your immune system. So she's between 48 hours and 72 hours, which is the next distinction that they have. Going 3 days without sleep profoundly limits the ability to think, especially executive functions such as multitasking, remembering details, and paying attention. You can experience depression, anxiety, and paranoia. Yeah, and this is when you can start having hallucinations. So a hallucination is when you see something that's not there, or illusions, which is when you misinterpret something that's real. So if you see a street sign, you think it's a person.
Right.
I'm just saying the polka band might not have ever been there.
Might not have existed.
But maybe she had some micro sleeps on the plane.
I think she probably slept a little bit. It was more, when we say, like, I haven't slept in 4 days, what we really mean is we haven't slept well.
Right.
Which can also catch up with you, though.
Right, yes.
That can have the same effect. It just takes longer to build the amount of hours that you have lost.
Yes.
And, because it doesn't work that you can't build up hours and have reserves. It doesn't work that way.
Unfortunately.
It's like when people when women are pregnant and I hear somebody say to them, "Oh, you better get your sleep now."
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that.
No, you better enjoy your sleep.
Thank you.
Now.
Yeah. Like,
just
appreciate it, remember it.
No, it'll happen again someday.
Someday.
Yeah. You will sleep again.
But you can't build up a reserve of sleep. It doesn't work like that.
It does not.
Okay.
All right. Next time is our hometown Christmas episode where we talk about your crimes and ours. And don't forget, homicidal maniacs. And that deadline's extended to December 14th.
Alrighty.
All right.
Get them in.
Awesome. So until next time, be safe, be kind, wash your hands.
Da, 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 da.